playing great basketball.
Defender to the master, Jason Tatum.
We covering pre and post game back on this.
How are we doing, guys? Welcome back in to Celtics Postgame Live. I am your host, Rob Tan. Joined with me is my co-host, Justin Lowe, and Finn Sands, a.k.a. Celtics Insiders. Guys, C's pick up the big time 129-121 win on the road. The C's take the series lead over the Hawks 3-1 after the Hawks shocked kind of the Celtics in that game 3 win, which we can touch base on. We didn't cover that game. But let's talk about tonight first. Jason Tatum, 31 points, 7 rebounds. JB, his running mate, also tagged along 31 points. He was great. After taking that mask off, we got unmasked JB tonight. He was phenomenal. He finished with, like I said, 31. And then how about Robert Williams off the bench, 13 points, 15 rebounds, along with 2 steals, 2 blocks. Rob was phenomenal. And it doesn't even stop there, guys. The graphics can't even control all of the depth the Celtics showed tonight. Just to kind of throw out more stats, Derek White, he had 18 points. Smart tagged along 19, 4, and 4. And then also the 6th man of the year, Malcolm Brogdon, he gave us 14, 4, and 4 as well off the bench. And then we had Sam Hauser give us a little 3 points there, the lone guy. But Justin, start us off. C's big win. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. Look, every time, this was similar to game 2. Boston jumped out early to a double-digit lead. Atlanta would try to cut into that, but every time they did, Boston, I thought, maintained their cool. They were getting called for screening fouls, so there were many times throughout this game where Celtics could have lost their cool. They could have let the game affect them, but they didn't. They kept their head down. They rebounded the basketball too, Rob. That was a huge thing. In game 3, Robert Williams and Al Horford had a combined 9 rebounds, 4 to Horford and 5 to Robert Williams. Tonight, you know what that number was? It was 26 between the two, 15 to Robert Williams, 11 and to Al Horford. And that's how the Celtics got tonight done. They were able to get second chance opportunities. They were getting to the basket. I thought that was huge in the first quarter, really putting an emphasis on attacking. And overall, I thought the turnovers could have been minimized, but I'm not going to sit here and nitpick. There certainly are things to clean up on, but this was a good road win. You're supposed to go out on the road and win playoff games when you're a team like the Celtics. They were able to do that tonight, and they go home 3-1, feeling sort of comfortable. Still have to close out the series, but 3-1 is a lot better than 2-2.
Yeah, it was exactly what I think we needed, right, Finn? I kind of want to hear your thoughts, takeaways, what you have for tonight's win.
Muted. Sorry, he'll figure it out. Oh.
Whoa. All right. You once you get that, we'll tap in. But some points I want to make here. Brown and Tatum, right? On the stat sheet, it said 31 each. Yeah. It really wasn't that great of a Brown and Tatum game. Despite that, hold on, all
right, can you guys hear me?
Oh, there we go.
All right, so I'll get back. Finn, you take it away. Give me your takeaways for tonight.
To me, tonight, everybody played their role. And in a playoff game, that's very important. Jaylen Brown started off pretty cold, but once that mask came off, he was a different man. I think it's going to be hard for the Celtics to lose any game where the Jays, they both have 31 points. That's something I definitely value. The scoring was very equally distributed, which was really nice. Everyone played their role, and I'm looking at Al Horford. He might have had 0 points, but 11 rebounds and good defense as well.
That's huge.
I think the Hawks tonight, and as well as game 3, they gave their best punch, and the Celtics responded tonight 3-1, and let's hope they can finish it at the Garden.
Yeah, so something that stands out to me, I think, Finn, you kind of hit on it. Everyone played their role. Brown and Tatum had 31 each, but those didn't really come until the last 5 minutes of this game, where then Brown and Tatum kind of went your turn, my turn, which is kind of the luxury of this team. Brogdon, I'd say, Brogdon and White got us through that first half scoring wise. They were great then.
Hmm.
Smart was big time. He gave us 19. I mean, what did he have game 3? I think game 3 he had 23. So I mean, it was kind of like tonight Atlanta was giving us their punch. The depth kept the lead, right? The entire game the depth was keeping the lead. And then when it came time to close, Tatum and Brown stepped up. And I think in a playoff game against Atlanta, that's exactly okay. And I think that is what can happen. And honestly, is what that needs to happen in these games. Is Brown and Tatum need to close out these games. You know, these depth, these role players, right? White, Smart, Brogdon, whoever it may be, Grant, Hauser, whoever's in the game, Al. They can get you only so far. Brown and Tatum are going to take you the distance. And I think that is what we saw tonight was Brown and Tatum taking us the distance as they closed out this game for us. Ian joins us. Ian, you know the drill, man. C's win. How are we feeling? You had a little hold on, before we get into this. You had a little parlay hit tonight. A little 3 for 3 Beantown parlay.
I mean, what are you gonna do? It's too easy. Come on, man. Come on. See, Rob, I don't know why you made it so hard. You sounded like betting was.
Yeah,
hard.
man. Well, yeah. Come on, man. You got to start sending me your stuff. You got to start sending me your stuff, man.
Nah, for real. I'm not even a gambler for real, but I thought, why not? I felt so confident that the Celtics would win this game that why not put my money on it? But yeah, I mean, this was just exactly what you wanted from the Celtics. You wanted them to go in game 4, take care of business, come back home, win game 5, hopefully quick turnaround to this Philly series so we can get there as soon as possible. Because let's be honest here, that's what we've been waiting for. I've kind of realized that this series does not actually feel like a playoff series at all. And like, maybe it's just because we got so used to being insanely stressed out about a series for like multiple years in a row in the first round. But like, I don't know, having no history with the Hawks and having to play a first round series with them, like, feels weird. So, I mean, if we can just take care of business in game 5, we can go into the real postseason, and that'll be against the 76ers, who may or may not have Joel Embiid by then.
Well, let's see. I was like so big because what'd you just say? Sixers may not have Embiid. Last year, the Boston Celtics would go back home and lose this game 5.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure.
This is such a pivotal game, and it may not look like it. And it's the first round against a Hawks team where we've essentially put the dagger in them. They're not going to win 3 straight on us, right? But finishing it off at home and not having to make that extra flight out to Atlanta, which we had to do so many times out there in Miami, and then we kind of did it to ourselves against the Bucks in that game 5. So this game 5, the Celtics need to come out, and I think it's really important that they step on the Hawks' neck's throat. Just kill them instantly, right? Really just put an end to this because, Ian, like you said, if the Celtics could find a way, I'm confident against Philly, no question. A fully healthy Sixers team, right? I'd prefer to see them healthy, so I don't have to listen to the Philadelphia fans say that if Embiid was playing XYZ, right? But with that being said, I would not mind a game 1 in which the MVP isn't playing. That makes our life a lot easier in terms of advancing to the Eastern Conference Finals and getting one step closer to that ring, especially with Milwaukee down 2-1. You got to look at that series. But, I mean, come on, guys. Like, Justin, game 5, if we can close this out and the Sixers don't have Embiid, right? Like, how huge is that?
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. But again, the Celtics all season long, and look, I'm not going to sit here and act like, this is playoffs, regular season doesn't matter and all that. But at the same time, we've seen this Celtics team falter and we've seen this team let their foot off the gas pedal. That absolutely, there is no excuse for that to happen here in the playoffs. It happened last year. You mentioned Miami, and it happened against essentially Milwaukee. And, you were up 2-1 against Golden State and you blew it. You were up 5 with about 7 minutes left, a chance to go up 3-1 in the finals, and Curry goes off. But, let's see how the Celtics mature here tonight. That maturity showed a little bit with guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, Marcus Smart stepping up, guys outside of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum essentially got this team to win. And, going home game 5, look, like you have a pivotal opportunity here to close this series out early and potentially face a team that's a little bit banged up right now that you already have their number against in the regular season. Does that transpire to the playoffs? Who knows? But we'll get to see Philly because they closed out the series last night, I think, right? So it's it's guaranteed to be Philly now. And their fans were chirping, we want Boston. That happened 3 years ago. We spiked them off the court. That happened last year. Brooklyn we want Boston in the play-in tournament. We swept them. Keep calling our names.
Speaking of Philly wanting Boston, the confetti, that brought back some good memories.
Oh, yeah,
right.
That brought back some good memories. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, that brings back so many good memories."
And the Hawks lost this game, and the Sixers lost the game. They dropped the confetti, so that makes it even better.
Good times. Good times.
Well, I have the Philly schedule. So if the Celtics take care of business and win Tuesday, I have the series dates for us. So game 1 against Philly would be in Boston, obviously, for games 1 and 2. That would be Saturday, April 29th. So the Celtics would get a little 3-day break, prepare for Philly, get to stay in Boston, mind you. They'll be in Boston for a whole week if they can close it out, because game 2 is that Sunday or that Monday, May 1st. Or is that a Tuesday? Hold on, let me check this. That's a Monday. Yeah. So Celtics will be in Boston May 1st, and then fly out to Philly for a little 3-day break, which is weird. So we don't play till May 5th. That's game 3 would be on May 5th, and then Philly's game 4 would be May 7th. So, and then we don't have to get into 5 and 6 and 7 because we'll just go through 4. But yeah. So like again, like this is like really big for the C's, especially because like you look at how we shot ourselves in the foot last year countless times. I personally just think this is a game Atlanta wants to get their season over with, quite frankly. I think this is a game in which we might not win, but Atlanta might just lose it. But, at the same time, talking about tonight, I thought we responded well. Game 3, we got killed on the glass. Game 4, we came out, and what did we do really, really well? We rebounded the basketball. So I like that. I like to see that we responded off an L. But I also do think this team has to learn to respond off wins. Take the bad part about the wins. Look what you did wrong. And I think that's maybe how we lost that game 3. But I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Finn? Is that a concern? Maybe Celtics might just kind of underplay opponents after wins, or what are you thinking, man?
You're muted.
Finn.
I don't get it, bro.
Oh, there you go.
No, you're good. You're good. Right. You're good. You're good.
I don't know what happens, but okay. I mean, I honestly just think game 3 was a fluke. Honestly, we got their best shot. And honestly, game 4 as well, except the Celtics were able to respond with both their stars playing elite basketball. And then for me, the one thing that I'm keeping my eye on, I'm kind of frustrated about Grant Williams not getting any minutes.
Same.
I know he got I know how streaky he is. I know he had a nice little run there in game 3, but we're looking into the next rounds. We got Philly, potentially Milwaukee. Grant needs to be a 20-minute at least type of player, and getting these DMPs is not going to help him get there. I think he needs to get more run because if the Celtics want to be great, we need Grant Williams, and that's just a fact.
And we said that even when he was struggling down the course of the regular season, we said we know what we can get out of Grant Williams. We know we're going to need Grant Williams. I thought he was essentially huge in that game 3 against Atlanta. I thought he kept us in the ball game for the minutes that he played. So I was a little bit surprised. And Finn, what was your reaction to see Grant have that type of game? And then Mike Muscala was the guy to come off the bench tonight. I mean, Mike Muscala played 67 seconds, then got benched. Then we didn't see anything. What was your reaction to that?
I didn't get it, man. Honestly, I don't understand. And Grant Williams played 56 seconds tonight. Mike Muscala 1 minute and 17 seconds. That's so useless. I feel like Grant could have at least gone 10 minutes of run somewhere in there. I know the Hawks aren't like the ideal matchup for him, and he's leaning towards Hauser. But like Grant could definitely fit in there somewhere. Like keep his legs fresh. He's got to understand that playoff atmosphere for these upcoming rounds, and to see Mike Muscala get in. I mean, like he's the guy that's supposed to be coming in after Grant Williams. It didn't really make sense to me.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't understand it. I don't know. Maybe Grant and Joe are not seeing eye to eye right now, and I don't know. I don't really know why Grant didn't play. It's kind of hard to even like kind of think of the reason as to why he didn't play today. But I mean, it's okay, I guess, because Muscala was kind of just there to fill in the last like minute or so to give Tatum extra rest. But still, I think it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I feel like you need to give Grant more of a chance. We saw what he could do in this game. We've seen what he can do in previous playoff, runs. So honestly, I think maybe this could also be conserving Grant because we are going to need him for Philly and for Milwaukee, or at this point maybe the Knicks, because for some reason the Knicks are destroying Cleveland. We're going to need him in other series, so maybe they're just resting him, but I don't know. I don't really know what to do.
I mean, like, I don't even think Grant's a bad matchup for this Atlanta team. Like, at first glance, I thought, game one, Hauser played phenomenal all regular season, right, against Atlanta. I think he was like 15 of 18 from beyond the arc against the Hawks this year. So it kind of made sense. But I mean, like Hauser played 10 minutes today, had 3 points, 2 rebounds, 1 of 2 from beyond the arc. Like when Hauser's out there, his purpose is to shoot the basketball. So to me, when I look at the box score and I see 10 minutes of Sam Hauser, I see 3 points, 2 rebounds, and two attempted threes. That's not successful Sam Hauser basketball. That's not what I'm looking for from Sam. I think his value on the defensive end is underrated. I think he's a solid defender. He holds his own. But I don't think if you're seeing that 4 straight times in a row, I think there's more value to be held with Grant Williams. And I think that Grant can definitely get a little careless at times. Sam doesn't doesn't make too many mistakes. He's always in the right place. I think, he might have a little bit better IQ in a sense offensively. But I mean, Grant's a big body. Atlanta's a physical team. And I don't think there's a mismatch with Hauser out there, or with Grant out there, rather. And I do think that you might run into problems against Philly when you throw Grant out there and he hasn't been able to get a rhythm, especially following such a great game 4 where he went 4-4 from beyond the arc and game 3 where he looked really good in game 3. And so that's disappointing to me. I think Finn nailed it. I think Grant Williams is definitely a guy that you kind of need to be playing well, especially in these later rounds, if it is Milwaukee in that Eastern Conference Finals, which I can assume it will be. I would be shocked if Miami finished this off. Right now, I'm just looking for them to keep extending this series. I would I think the second Giannis comes back is the second Milwaukee just gets to business. So they handle them. But again, last year, what was the Celtics' problem down the stretch? It was their fatigue. It was their physical just drainage, and this is adding mileage onto Milwaukee. So that's good there, right? Like I thought Miami keep banging them up, right? Maybe Miami dodged us, right? Is that a possibility that maybe Miami just didn't want to play us?
Miami dodged us. Yeah, definitely. That's why Jimmy Butler shot what was it, 6 of 21 in the play-in game, something like that.
Yeah, man.
I'd rather not be played by the Atlanta Hawks. Like, what Capella have 22 rebounds? Like, that's just hard. But I just think for Boston coming home up 3-1, you do have a prime position, Rob. And we talked about this earlier in the show. This is when we're going to get to see the maturity level. Like I mentioned it earlier, let's see how mature these guys are. Are these guys going to just play around and just because Atlanta's down 3-1. You're on your home court. You can't play with your food here. You have to finish the job. You absolutely need to, whether that's grabbing rebounds, turning the ball over last, whatever it is you got to do, you have to execute on your home court. You need every little bit. You like, this is your one, I guess, quote unquote, easy series with all due respect to the Hawks. Like, the next 3 teams are going to be, say, just going off of what we're predicting here, is going to be Philly, Milwaukee, and then a team like Phoenix out west or whoever. Like, those are top of the line, top tier teams. They're no Atlanta Hawks. They're no teams you want to mess with. So you want to close this one out. You couldn't close it out before. You got to close it out in 5 on your home court, prime position. You're fully healthy. Going to go up against the team, Philly, who is banged up, even though they're coming off of a sweep. Get the job done on Tuesday night. Get the job done.
Yeah, and honestly, you go ahead.
The earlier we play Philly, the better. So, that's just a goal at the end of the day. And I really hope that's the message that's being talked about in the locker room, because, like, if Joel Embiid, he's probably going to end up playing the whole series. But if we see a little bit of a limp in game 1, and that could drag the whole series, that's a huge advantage for the Celtics. So.
Especially, like, Embiid's a physical guy. He is going to want to get into your body, and we're going to play physical with him. Last time we saw him, I don't know if you guys remember this, but we played him straight up. No help, no double coverage, no drop coverage, nothing, no frontage. It was straight up, I'm going to play you one-on-one like I would play any other big man in the NBA. And I think that was a strategic move by Mazzulla to kind of be like, all right, if, we're not going to show you what we're going to throw at Embiid with this game, with 4 games left to the playoffs. We're going to play him straight. And if you want to go isolation ball with us all postseason, you're going to have to make adjustments accordingly, because I do think Boston has a lot of defensive looks to stop Embiid. I think we saw it right after the All-Star break. He kind of struggled against us in that game. In which Tatum hit that big time shot against Philly. So, like, again, a huge one coming up, big win against the Hawks. Can't complain there. But, I do think there are some things you can tweak. I think the turnovers, like I said, Tatum and Brown were great. Brown was great, I think, whole second half. Tatum was good, solid for the last 5 minutes. I'd like to see him. What did he have tonight? I think 13 attempted threes. Let me check. 13. 4 of 13 from beyond the arc. That's March Jason Tatum. We don't want March Jason Tatum. Or February. Was it February or March? I forget.
It was February, I think. But I think I'm only okay with it because he hit the 2 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why.
Well, that's what
he hit the 2 in the fourth quarter. That's the only reason why you can maybe excuse the 13 threes, but it was starting to get annoying, like halfway through the game, where it's like, Tatum, dude, nobody can guard you in the paint. Like, who is going to guard you? You got blocked by Clint Capella 1 time out of like the 50 times you've driven to the paint this entire series. Like, don't let that one time discourage you.
And you know what?
To drive.
It's interesting too, because we saw it games 1 and 2. He got into the paint a lot, and he got what he wanted.
And if you want to shoot free throws, you're not going to get free throws by shooting threes. So
yeah, no, and it kind of raises the question: is maybe Tatum, is he just kind of picking and choosing when he's going to be aggressive? Game against Atlanta, in which you kind of had the lead all game long. Does Tatum want to put that wear and tear on his body so early on? But at the same time, it's the playoffs, right? There's really no excuses. If you don't show up, any team 1 through 8 seeded, right, can beat you any day if you don't show up in the playoffs. So
I mean, look at the Knicks Cavs series. I mean, Darius Garland and especially Donovan Mitchell today were terrible. I mean, Darius Garland's been bad the whole series, but Donovan Mitchell was awful.
Yeah,
like, he could not buy a basket to save his life.
Mitchell's first points of the second half didn't come, I think, until like 45 seconds left in the game when they were like,
and he only had like 9 points in total, which is wild.
Yeah. Jaylen Brown would never.
I know, right?
Dude, let me ask you guys this: Do the Knicks pose a serious threat, you think, to the Bucks?
They're like Miami. like Miami, where like they don't have like a real star, but like they're
I think
always
they give them talent.
they're good because they have good defense. So they're like Miami, where they'll limit teams to like under 100 points, but at the same time shoot like 25% from the field.
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier, Rob. It's like it depends if Giannis comes back healthy, they're gonna win. But if Giannis is banged up, maybe the Knicks take it to 6 or 7. But
Yeah, see, that's my concern because like also if the Celtics play the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals, that's also a tad bit concerning because the Knicks seem to have the Celtics number for the last like 2 years or so. So,
Well, but here's
I'm
my
not saying
thing
regular season
with
success.
Milwaukee, right? Here's my thing right now. I'd like to think that if Jason Tatum missed a couple games in the first round against this Hawks team, we would still be where we're at right now, up 3-1.
I agree.
I think it is worth noting that the Milwaukee Bucks are trailing through 3 games, 2 of which have been at home, to the 8th seed. I think you should very much be able to beat the 8th seed as the 1 seed without your best player. And that's just I especially when the 8th seed's missing their second best offensive player, in which a system and team which their offense ranks bottom 5. So the Heat, who are a bad offensive team, lost their second best offensive player, means they're not that great of an offensive team right now. Yet in game 3, the Miami Heat hung 121 points on the Milwaukee Bucks' head.
Wait. Do they have Chris Middleton? Because they can't win a series without Chris Middleton. They can't win any playoff games without Chris Middleton.
Yeah. And it's like,
so like,
at what point should I, as a Celtics fan, look at the Bucks and think to myself, maybe we don't have a problem there? Obviously, no, Giannis is such an impactful player, but like maybe there isn't a problem there. Maybe, obviously I still think the Bucks get out of the series, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think Milwaukee's depth is kind of coming into question right now because outside of Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, who else on that team is like a legit guy you can say, like, do they have a Malcolm Brogdon? Do they have a Grant Williams?
They got Bobby Portis.
A Derek White.
Yeah,
Bobby Portis too. But yeah, outside of those guys, do you trust anybody else to even play in a playoff series? Like Pat Connaughton's cool, but he's not going to play a whole lot of minutes. Jay Crowder is averaging like 1 point in this Miami series.
Oh, Jay Crowder, they gave up. Can we believe on? They gave
five
up 5 second-round picks for 2 points in 3 games of Jay Crowder.
And Bucks fans said that was the reason why the Celtics weren't going to beat them. And then they have Joe Ingles, and Joe Ingles is cool too, but like he's kind of a liability on defense, and he can shoot sometimes, but he's very, very streaky. So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like you kind of got to take this being without Giannis kind of gives some perspective where it's like, oh, maybe the Bucks' depth isn't that good. And also, Coach Budenholzer, like I know he's an NBA champion, but come on, man, you do not make any adjustments at all.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, like
he's a fraud. He's such a fraud.
Every year in a playoff run, he was lucky Giannis was able to carry him to the finals because, like, it feels like every year he makes 0 adjustments in any series, and he's just lucky Giannis can just run through people and carry them. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know, maybe you question Mike Budenholzer's coaching too, because I know Bucks fans have a problem with him too. So,
well, it's like
we'll see.
The way I look at it. So first of all, the game 4, 7:30 tomorrow in Miami is the biggest game. That's uninvolved. As a Celtics fan, that's the biggest game of the season outside of the games the Celtics have played. If you're a Celtics fan,
Giannis better play.
Well, that's up in the air. Let me check. I'm gonna see if I can get an update on Giannis.
My guess is he's going to be questionable up until the last minute.
If Giannis doesn't play this game, I'd be concerned because they're down 2-1. So let's see if I can get
the Bucks go down 3-1. That would be insane.
So Bucks Giannis gets work in. He's listed as questionable.
If Giannis doesn't play, that's when you know his injury is serious too. Like that's when you know it's one of those things that's going to linger throughout the entire postseason.
And it's just like I mean, I don't know. You got to ask yourself this, right? Is this Bucks core, are they good enough for 2 rings? Is this core that they have, are they good enough to win 2 NBA champions or 2 NBA championships?
They're
I
certainly
don't
running out of time.
I don't think they
Yeah.
are. I don't think that's a core that's 2 NBA championship good. Especially if you look at the history in the NBA and what teams have won 2 rings. And I think that, Justin, you make a great point, right? Their time is ticking. Middleton is getting hurt. He's getting old. Holiday is playing some of the best basketball in his career, but also he's getting a little bit older. Lopez is old. Ingles, their bench is super old. Ingles is old, very old. Crowder. I mean, who else? It's just like Wesley Matthews.
Oh wait, no, they have Javon. They have Javon Carter too.
Javon
He's
Carter. Nice. It's like, so it's like they
Javon Carter is nice. I like Javon Carter.
You got to look at what the Bucks have, and you got to question it, because again, being down 2-1 in a series without your best player is one thing, right? That makes sense. But to think that you're down 2-1 after getting brutally beat down in game 3 to a bad offensive team, to the 8th seed, like that's concerning. I really do. If the Celtics were down 2-1 to Miami, without Jason Tatum, I'd be thinking to myself, all right, I don't know if we can do this even with Jason Tatum. Is that crazy to say? Am I crazy?
No, it's not. I don't know. I just don't know if this Milwaukee depth is like so crazy. Like I feel as if you're also buying the names. Like Goran Dragic was a great name at once. Jay Crowder was a solid name at once. Like, not right now, not in today's NBA. And just what did you say, Rob? Jay Crowder's averaging what, 2.5 points?
No, he scored twice, or he scored 2 points in 4 games.
Yeah, and 3 games. Like no Giannis. Jay Crowder's supposed to be that guy to step up. Just like if we weren't to have Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum, Malcolm Brogdon, Derek White, those are the guys who would have to step up, and they are producing. I don't think you get that out of Milwaukee, and I'm not just saying that based off the 3 playoff games. You haven't gotten that really since the trade deadline when you brought half these guys in. Like, I just time is ticking, and I remember watching a Pacers versus Bucks broadcast, and even the Bucks announcers were admitting, like, time's ticking for this team. Like, if they probably only have a couple years left. When you hear Bucks announcers who are around the team 24/7 on the team, playing in the locker room at their practices, like, that goes a long way. Like, Milwaukee, it's essentially win or go home for them, really.
Also,
yeah, I mean, I know you got it, Finn.
I think Milwaukee, like, the biggest difference between like a team like Milwaukee and the Celtics is that I think Milwaukee, like, the players, especially on the bench, they lack roles. Like, the Celtics have been consistent for the most part, throughout the regular season. Brogdon would never start. You knew you were going to get from D. White, but you look at the Bucks; they've been super injured this season. So they've had so many different starting lineups. So, right. like before the start of playoffs, you had Crowder playing like 30 minutes, Javon Carter playing like 30 minutes, and now these guys are playing nothing. And I think that plays a big role, especially in the playoffs. And I think that's honestly throwing them off, because you have your Chris Middleton back, and that's the guy they're relying on, as well as Holiday. But now you have no Crowder, and like, it's like Pat Connaughton. I feel like he didn't get any minutes, and now he's playing 25 game. And I think that's what the problem is with their coach. And I think that's a problem, and that's playing a big role into why we're kind of seeing their fall off right now.
Yeah, and it's
sorry. I wanted to talk about like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday. Like, they're solid players. Drew Holiday especially. I mean, I think, he was arguably an all-star this year, but he probably deserved it. You're not going to get 50 points from Drew Holiday every night. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, you're not going to get, what you need, it feels like, out of guys like Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Like, you're not going to get a Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown performance tonight out of Holiday and Middleton when Giannis is injured. That's just not going to happen. And, like, with the Celtics, I think the difference is you can maybe, at least with the way he's playing now, let's just say Jaylen Brown is out. You can have a game where Derek White steps up Malcolm Brogdon steps up. It's just one of those things where it feels like outside of Holiday and Middleton, if one of those two are struggling, it doesn't feel like there's anybody else on Milwaukee that can really pick up the slack. Bobby Portis is nice. He's not really known for his scoring. Brook Lopez is cool. Unless he gets hot from three, it's not really going to be much from him either. So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like you need somebody else in Milwaukee to do something. And that's what every team in the playoffs needs. They need their stars to go off, and they need other people around them to play well too. So
I think
you're
something you're
seeing right now
in Milwaukee is how heavily built this team is around Giannis. Giannis is the engine that makes the Bucks run, plain and simple. If you look at the Milwaukee, if you take Giannis out of the picture, eliminate the Giannis, right? They're not a playoff team. I don't think they're a top 8 team in the Eastern Conference. Holiday's been good. Middleton, he's a little bit banged up, especially this year. They missed the playoffs. You take Tatum off Boston. Boston's a playoff team for sure. With that roster still, they're probably still a top 4 or 5 seed without Jason Tatum. Probably right around 5 or right. They're probably their number 5. Philly, I think if you take Embiid off Philly, the Sixers still get their way into the playoffs. And down the line, Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell, we saw Cleveland. They were a fringe playoff team. They were the 4 seed before they got banged up last year. And same goes for the Knicks. I think if you take Brunson, or actually not, next year I'm really pushing it. But yeah, the top 4 teams in the East are all still right around a playoff team without their best player, except Milwaukee. And that is because they have built a system in which it only runs if Giannis is playing. And obviously, you got to assume your best player is going to be playing. But in this event in which he gets hurt, which is normal in a playoff run for players to go down and miss time, they have run into a problem at which they don't have shot makers. They don't have shot makers. They don't really have facilitators. And they don't have that. So if Giannis misses this game 4, I don't think I could see the Bucks going in and being like, oh yeah, I think Milwaukee takes this. I got to go and lean towards Miami because of the fact that Miami still has Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Those are 2 guys that they can rely on in a game 4 in a playoff series. And we know this playoffs are all about adjustments, responding, right? You lose a game, how do you adjust? It's like a chess match, right? The one player moves, the next one has to make a move according to that move. It's just how the NBA works. It's how the playoffs works. If you don't do that, you're not going to go very far. And you guys made some great points earlier. I don't think Budenholzer makes adjustments, and I don't think the Bucks have a playoff built team without Giannis. And right now, Giannis isn't playing. I think Game 4 decides the Bucks season. If Giannis plays, then they get past Miami and they'll make a finals or an Eastern Conference Finals trip. If Giannis doesn't play, you could very much see the Milwaukee Bucks coming close at least to getting eliminated. I still think if Giannis comes in a Game 5 down 3-1, they still hold a chance. But things are really weighing heavily on whether or not Giannis plays in Game 4.
You would think he would, because this is almost like essentially like
it's a must-win game. It's a must-win.
I do think Milwaukee could come down from down 3-1.
Yeah.
But that's super hard to do, and that's super unnecessary. I think Giannis gives it a go, and I think that if you're Boston and Philly looking on the other side of the bracket, you're kind of sitting there, kind of like smirking a little bit, right? Like you're down, like Milwaukee's down 2-1. Like Miami has a prime chance. Are they in Milwaukee or are they in Miami?
They're in Miami for Game 4.
Okay, so this is okay. Oh yeah, that's right. The Game 4. So they're in Miami. Like, look, like Miami has a really solid opportunity, and I think Miami knows this. And I think it'd be really interesting. Ian, you mentioned it yesterday in the group chat, like potentially a Knicks versus Heat second round. Like nobody would have guessed that. If the Cavs and the Bucks are out in the first round, that would be absolutely insane.
Well, and you know what? As a Heat player right now, you're seeing New York up 3-1 against that Cavs team. The Heat are probably thinking to themselves, we got to pounce now. Right now, like this is like we have to go, because I do think the New York Knicks are a much more beatable team than the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think that they have just kind of found a way to attack Cleveland and expose their weaknesses. Oh, wait, something else. I just had another point that popped up. Wait, do you have something to say? And I don't want to interrupt.
Oh,
it's all
no,
good.
you're good. Sorry, my
Okay.
internet's
Okay.
been-
Oh no! All right, I didn't want to just like jump right in. I just had like
That was a
back-to-back.
Jack moment, bro. Bro had a
was.
Jack moment.
Now I forget what I was
Bro,
gonna
my
say. I'm
internet's
not gonna lie.
cutting in and out here.
I just
so.
completely forgot what I was gonna say. Let's see if I can remember.
Heat Knicks.
Heat Miami 3-1-2-1. Oh yeah, got it. Boom. Thanks. All right. Even if the Bucks are getting Giannis back, what version of Giannis are you getting? Is it 100% Giannis? Like what percentage are the Bucks saying, all right, you're good to go? So it's interesting. It's really personally, I'm still taking the Bucks probably in 7 games. Because you would assume Giannis comes back, and even without Giannis, maybe I think they can still maybe win another game without him. But if Giannis doesn't come back, God, can you imagine that? I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see every team healthy, right? Like, I as a fan, I want to beat teams when they're at their best. Because you don't want to hear you don't want to like last year we beat the Bucks, but all we had to hear was, oh my God, didn't have Chris Middleton. But man, oh man, would I love a break as a Celtics fan in terms of it feels like every run we're the ones that are dealing with the injuries. And last year we had the hardest path to the finals. Right. And it's just like this year kind of feels like the silver lining in which, knock on wood, if we can stay healthy, it might be falling back into place.
We do kind of have luck here because we're the ones who have Gallinari. Because if the Hawks still had Gallinari, we'd probably be down 3-1 right now. Because that's just how Gallo was against us. I remember earlier in the season, our first matchup against Atlanta, they asked Joe Mazzulla, what's it going to be like playing this Hawks? Well, he's like, well, this time we have Gallinari, so that certainly helps. But you're right, Rob. In going into a potential game 1 against Philly without Joel Embiid, you want to play the Philadelphia 76ers when they're healthy and when we're healthy. But at the same time, you do kind of enjoy that little break. But you also can't hang your hat on that, and you can't control that. And you also can't, I guess, take total advantage in terms of, let your guard down, right? Play down to the competition. And the Celtics know how to do that. So hopefully, whether that's moving forward, no Embiid in this series coming up or later down the line, Giannis in and out of the lineup, you're going to have to go in there and still do your job and win games. But that certainly moving forward is something to keep an eye on.
Also, I was just thinking about it. If we play Philly, this just came to mind. I could honestly see Joe pulling Grant at the 3 a little bit.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like that's something he would do. I feel like Hauser for those 9 or 10 minutes sometimes comes in for either Brown or Tatum, but I would not be surprised if Joe threw Grant in for Tatum or for Brown for a couple minutes to run. Just to stack up bigs on Embiid, and anytime they switch or get in the post, I think you'd rather have Grant guarding him in the post than Sam. So that's something that I'm going to keep my eye on in the second round.
I feel like the name of the game against Philly is have someone else beat you, because last time we saw PJ Tucker go 3 of 3 in the 4th from beyond the arc. No, we need this real quick. We need some Ian Angelo love right now.
Some Eli Angelo in the chat.
Hello. Yeah. Sorry, I'm fucking stressing. My internet in my building is the worst internet I've ever had to deal with in my life. I hate absolutely.
All right, well, there's some Eli Angelo for you boys.
Yes, hello.
Everybody wants Eli Angelo.
Hang on.
Hold on, I got you. Let me take this graphic
what's
off
going
the screen.
on?
Done.
Oh, there you go.
But no, I think the name of the game against Philly is try to have someone else beat you. Tobias, we haven't really seen do much against us. And, I mean, Harden can do some damage. I like our matchup against Philly. So, especially, just it's a mental thing. I don't know if Philly thinks they can come in and beat us. Maybe if they had the higher seed, they had that mentality, but so much of the playoffs it's all a mental game. You got to truly believe you can beat the team you're lining up against. And I don't think Philly believes that. So yeah.
Also, crazy stat here. The Celtics are now 22-1 when Tatum and Brown both score 30 points, including the playoffs. That's a .957 win percentage and is the best among duos all time with a minimum of 20 games.
And you know what? We should have been undefeated because we lost that one game.
Because it was that stupid Cleveland game in overtime.
Oh my God, we were undefeated, and then Cleveland showed up.
That should have been an N1.
What game was that? Was that the game where Tatum
that was the one where Tatum
down?
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, that should have been an N1.
Yeah. God, Cleveland, dude. Joke's on them. Right? They're down 3-1.
Jokes on us.
Jokes? Yeah, God.
I'll make them both. Yeah, okay. All right.
All right. Well, guys, the Celtics pick up a 129-121 Game 4 win on the road in Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown led all Celtic scorers with 31 each, respectively. How about Robert Williams off the bench? He had 13 points. 15 rebounds, 2 blocks, 2 steals in a very short 28 minutes for Rob. Smart had 19. White had 18. Brogdon had 14. Everyone 8 tonight. Al Horford had a plus 17, plus minus 11 boards, 5 assists. Mr. Do-It-All Al. C's playing next Tuesday, April 25th. That game's at 7 o'clock on TNT or NBC Sports Boston. I recommend you watch it on NBC Sports Boston because it's the last broadcast of the year. They only covered the first round.
Seamus guaranteed that?
Well, all right, you know what? I'm Seamus guaranteeing it. I'm feeling good. The C's are gonna go in Game 5. They're gonna handle business against these Atlanta Hawks.
Ask Rob for his Game 5 parlay.
Hey, if you're looking for my Game 5 parlay, go download Sharps. That was a little inserted promo right there. But guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. Until next time, guys.